because they run out of money Friday. That's it. Monday, they have to address that matter sometime during the day and figure out how they're going to get some money when there's nobody else to lend them any money, because everybody that was lending them money, we didn't seize their shit. So now they can't even get an artificial extension because there's nothing to extend it on. This shit is over, right? So this is what we're trying to get the people to understand. Well, it's not on a time frame. It's on the success or lack of success in reclaiming our shit. If there's insufficient amount of us to reclaim our shit by oral tradition, mean majority rule. If the problem is a true problem, the solution is a viable solution, meaning that it can be worked, right? And you apply it and it worked, they lost. That's it. The most workable solution is to hijack their algorithms because they base so much of their economic sustainability on their algorithms. They already out of money. When you hit them in the pocket, they gonna scream so goddamn loud, you're gonna really understand what this is about. So again, on 2/22/2022, we doing a cyber takeover, hashtag free Larry Hoover in whatever you post. It don't matter what you post as long as you get the blue hashtag, and you can tell by the numbers which one is the right one. The one with the largest numbers is the right one. Because on Facebook and Instagram, they different, but they also different on TikTok and Twitter. But as long as they on there, right, they're going to add up. They're going to all add up, and that's going to fuck their algorithm, right? And if free Larry Hoover is in different forms taking over the top 5 spots, they cannot get any advertising dollars for that 24-hour period. And you might not know it, but that equates to a couple of $1 billion. Yeah, so if you had a bank, whatever you have in the bank, don't even worry about if the economy collapse, because when the turnaround come and Larry speak, he gonna unlock our shit, right? Price is gonna plummet. Price is gonna plummet. And the reason the prices is gonna plummet because the fiat money that wasn't backed by anything artificially ran the prices up through inflation in order for them to circulate a certain amount of paper money. As soon as that paper money that didn't have any backing becomes confronted with a gold-backed currency, that's gone. But don't worry about it, because from my understanding, in the $1 trillion buyback program, even those accounts is going to be matched dollar for dollar for the ones that's indigenous to the land, or I should say organic. For the rest of the people, there will be a percentage on the dollar, but you won't be left destitute. And then there's going to be ways for you to access even more of your wealth that's been held in abeyance from you because all of your ancestors was considered 3/5 compromise. All those loans is going to be void once the old system fall. We got to stop contracting with them, because that's the only reason they still in power, because we keep signing contracts, birth certificates in the hospitals for newborns, social security cards for newborns, and getting a repeat. Every time you get a social security card, you open up another international bank account. Most of us don't know that. Every time you get a new birth certificate, you are securing another bond. All of those bonds add up. Now, Let's say you had a birth certificate when you was 6. In some kind of way, it got destroyed and flushed down the toilet. It doesn't matter. It's still in trade. It's still being traded around the world in batch roll trade because there is a certain number that comes with each birth certificate. If you go get your birth certificate and get 4 copies of it, the because they are on bank security paper, each one got to have its own serial number. You can look that serial number up on the birth certificate, and it's tied to a stock that's an international stock. If you have a Fidelity account, your name in all caps with that tells you what's in that account. It's the same with your Social Security card is an international bank account that holds all of your money in it. And this international bank account is the same as your Social Security number minus the hyphens. Right? So a lot of people been onto the trail, but nobody ever understood what was going on. It didn't make sense. And where we kept getting thrown off with is people telling us that we need nationality papers to legitimize who we are when we've never been the people that legitimize ourselves by paperwork. We legitimize ourselves by presenting ourselves before the elders of any community because they'll know if you're a no good motherfucker, you a no good motherfucker. And if you a good motherfucker, they know you a good motherfucker. Felicia Feezy Wallace say, I'm being traded all across Estonia and Japan. They trading us everywhere. They don't care where we at. In the Caribbean, the end result is the same. They got the same banking system. Anywhere they had a central bank set up, the central bank was stealing from Big Mama's bank. Right? Now, they wasn't allowed to go into her bank and get the currency. So what they was doing is they was tricking us to go under her ground and pull wealth out in the form of minerals. If you was to do things under the matriarchy, you couldn't spread wealth from a mine without taking care of the locals first. The locals had the first right to process anything that you got from deeper than 3 feet underground. And that's to make for farmers to be able to have their own farms. But even the farmers was participating in the sharing of the wealth with the tribesmen. Right. So the Federal Reserve has been, the Federal Reserve has been given over to the U.S. What's another? I forget the names of them right now because I'm kind of like run down. But Trump seized all that shit before he left office. And right now, Trump is the only one that, other than Larry, that has the paper. He got the certificates to our wealth. And that'll allow him to tell us who Larry is if we put up a sufficient stink. Right. So we call ourselves Aboriginals. I prefer to use the term organic. Right. Aboriginal meaning first in time. Organic meaning from the land. Like a tree. We organic to this shit. Now, I just explained Aboriginal mean first in time. Turtle Island was one of the names that was given to this land. I only became recently in tune with understanding the Turtle Island about 1.5 years ago. Because when they was first presenting it, I wasn't finding it in the documents until I started looking at something called stellar relief. Because we didn't demand that he pardon Larry. That's why he didn't do it. He would have did it if we'd have had sufficient demand for him to do it. He would have done it without hesitation. This shit would have been over. But because the people been so disoriented, and then they shut off, they turn Earth off. People forget that. It's only two people in the history of the world can turn Earth all the way off, and that's God and the devil. And to me, they the same motherfucker. So they turned Earth off, right? That's why the motherfuckers don't got on no real badges. That's why they later you could tell that the George Floyd that they picked up off the ground was a mannequin, but y'all don't pay that shit no attention, and I'll be overthinking when I do. And since I'm an overthinker, I mean I think over most of these motherfuckers' heads, so they want to try to tear that shit down. Yeah, so on January the 6th, what the goal was to plant a no fringe a flag with no fringe on the Capitol behind the speaker's desk, behind the gold fringe Admiralty flag, and that reinstalls the what you call that? The law of the land as opposed to the law of the seas. So it was returning the jurisdiction back to the law of the land and taking it away from Admiralty. Yeah, so all the time, Chauvin, he was a Tawny Moor. George Floyd was a Blackamoor. But coming to find out, the real George Floyd had died 3 years prior, right, to 2022, by hijacking the algorithms and fucking with their advertising dollars and putting their motherfuckers out of business. Because they already closed, you just don't know it. But once you make them admit it by changing the algorithm, control the algorithm, right, then you can control the public domain again. And this is what they're trying to keep us from doing. Yeah. So in every distraction, it's a code. What I'm going to do personally is I'm going to make some posts, do some videos, talk about this shit, repeat the same shit I've been repeating, probably show y'all some receipts, track some numbers. That's what I'll be doing, right? And this is the way to set the record straight once and for all. Stop using a system to reclaim our system, but use our system to oust their system. Go back to the oral tradition, which predated the written tradition, under the grandfather clause. Once you institute the grandfather clause, then you can institute the grandmother clause, which most of y'all have no clue what the grandmother clause is. The grandmother clause is the right to wealth to be inherited through the motherland, which has been a halt while we was under patriarchy. So all Big Mama money just sat there, collecting interest. It's so much money that if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. So let alone showed you, right? So militaries in unison been working all around the world, right, for one purpose: overthrow the devil. Here's the kicker: the devil only mean the enemy, right? So if you overthrow your enemy, our ancestors say you get rid of the enemy within and the enemy without can do you no harm. In other words, oust the traitors and the haters, and the rest of the motherfuckers become inconsequential at that point. So I'm trying to look for any more questions. If y'all got any, y'all better put them in there, because I'm running out of steam. Yep, hit their ass in the pockets and kick them in the badussy. Make them feel that shit. Yep. So, the battle cry is Free Larry Hoover, With Free Larry Hoover mean give us back our land, give us back our wealth, protect our children, protect our women, restore the matriarchy, and put things back in the order that nature intended. So when I say Big Mama, so Real Israel say, can I explain Big Mama, who Big Mama is, who knows, who don't? Okay, so when I say Big Mama, I'm talking about Prime Creator. We call her Big Mama because it's through her that we all have this luxury called life, where we can experience diverse things. And she got certain stuff under the matriarchy that she don't interfere with personally, but she developed vessels. These vessels we call people, right? So if you look in the in Egypt, in the observatory, you'll see a map of the zodiac with all these different animals in there, what they call zootypes. In the middle, it's a big hippopotamus holding the meat cleaver. That's Big Mama. That's why we call her Big Mama. The oldest god ever known was Big Mama. And her name in Egypt is Ta'ert. But we got varying different names. In my clan, we call her Big Mama. In another clan, they call her Nana. In another clan, they call her Madir. In another clan, they just call her Ma. In another clan, they call her Titi because she their auntie more than she is a direct ancestor, but she holds the power of Big Mama, right? So that's when we talk about Big Mama, that's what we talking about, right? And the matriarch with the largest following the matriarchs become Big Mama to all of the tribes, but every tribe got a Big Mama to bless children in, and it's kind of a little bit more complicated than just blessing them in. But we all get issued a job at birth. We not born haphazardly. They read the stars to know when we come. Yep. Putin calls Russia Mother Russia. Right? And people in Africa call Africa the motherland. Indigenous people over here call over here the motherland, etc. The Chinese call it in Chinese the motherland over there, and the Aussies refer to it in the same feminine gender as down there. Right? So, let me see any more questions. So if it's anything else y'all need me to clear up, I'm going to give y'all a couple seconds to throw a question in. Do Trump have extraterrestrial guiding his decisions? No. But he is in connection with extraterrestrials who is back in the play of us, and they waiting on us to wake up in sufficient numbers because they just like ancestors. They like your cousins that came from the other side of town to help you straighten out the problem.